I'm based in Toronto originally. So as you know, my name is Liz Couto. I work for Shopify as a content marketer on our developer program. So a lot of you are obviously here because you want to learn more about content marketing. You're probably wondering what that is, and you're probably even wondering what even is a Shopify. So to give you a little context about my work, so Shopify is one of the biggest commerce platforms in the entire world. We're proudly based in Canada, but we actually serve over 500,000 merchants all around the world. We basically want to help anyone, anywhere, sell anything. So whether you're in the third world, a remote village, and you need a shipping solution, or you're Kylie Jenner and you have a new lip kit, tweeds are coming at your site, you don't want to crash. We really want to help anyone sell anything and make it work. So as you can imagine, in trying to help people sell anything, we have a lot of special needs that need to be taken care of. And how do we extend our core product to make this happen? Actually, community of developers, as you guys probably guessed. So in 2009, we actually launched our first public API, as well as an app store. That way, developers could come in, build kind of some apps to cover all these niche issues, extensions, as well as an app store to be able to sell their apps to Shopify merchants. But as you can see, we're growing really, really fast. And so do the amount of people who need those extensions. So basically, we need more and more developers. If you want developers, it turns out that you need marketing. So that's why I'm here. So a year ago, I joined Shopify as the content marketer on their team, super excited for this challenge. I'd come into the role really confident. I worked on some huge campaigns, been a marketing manager at Twitter. I knew that I knew marketing and could come in and make it happen. Although my first couple meetings with DevRel was a little bit of a shock. I had worked on some API stuff in the past and some work with developers, but for the most part, I'd always been in a room with other marketers or salespeople who kind of understood the marketing world. So the first few meetings, as I said, my teammates, amazing, super smart, were talking about these really in-the-weed issues with our API endpoints and how we can extend things. And then I was there with my weird marketer speak about doing analysis and looking at audiences and campaigns and targeting, and it was like we were speaking a whole other language. So yeah, we talk about imposter syndrome a lot of tech, and for me as a marketer, joined the DevRel team, their first marketer on the team, it did kind of feel like a what am I doing here type of moments. But I knew that I knew my stuff. I knew that if they want to scale and grow the community, I kind of just stick to my guns. So I kind of just owned it, was the marketer, did a lot of processes, and really started to actually really see the value of what I was doing. Our DevRel team was amazingly smart. They were doing really great work. But as I kind of stuck to my weird marketing jargon, it made me realize I was one of these people asking these questions. Well, they were doing great work, creating content, addressing developer needs, really identifying those needs. What they needed was someone doing those marketing 101 tasks of asking, okay, who exactly is our audience? And how do they consume our content? And do we know we're getting the right places? Are really tracking that and analyzing? So this is kind of my first lesson in content marketing for developer relations. Be the marketer. It's going to be really weird when you're a marketer on a developer relations team, or if you're developer relations doing more marketing, to kind of introduce new marketing and stuff that feels a little funny and weird, but trust me, push through, it will make sense. In fact, our head of developer experience the other day even asked me what the CPA on one of my campaigns is, the cost per acquisition. So now we've gone from this weird speaking two different languages to working all together, speaking the same language, or at least understanding each other and how we work together. So it's all been goodness there. So it's kind of my first experience, a little weird, a little out of place. And then it was just this great loving, I guess, relationship with the team. So we really had each other's trust. They knew that I was doing what I did for a reason. They trusted me with the developer comms and all the content, blogs, looking after webinar, the social media accounts. It was really that moment of content marketing when DevRel trusts you, and they really give you those keys to the kingdom. You have it, it's great, it's an amazing time. But sometimes when you have the keys to the kingdom, you might actually have to burn it down. So as a Canadian, I'm practically legally obliged to have sorry somewhere in my deck. But it is a kind of a weird, awkward moment. You have this trust, you love your team, they're amazing, you're working together, you're seeing some results. But as you start to see results and track and really analyze, you might notice that some of the things done were not optimal. You might have to have those awkward conversations with your team of, okay, I know you're trying to make things really short and sweet for developers, but when you do that, it's actually not picking up and optimized for SEO. And we know our developers find a lot of our content through Googling. So if you're creating this, but they can't actually find it. So trying to change behaviors, those awkward conversations. Even telling them for webinars and whatnot, these are better practices. We can't just copy and paste code snippets. We can't just talk about it. We need to show visuals. We need to live code more. Those awkward conversations, but they're honestly so worth it. So this is my second kind of big lesson in content marketing. Really own the messaging. And it may seem weird and feel a bit weird. You're the marketer, not the technical person, to really go in and advise your team on this is how you should be presenting code. This is how you should present technical contents. But if you don't do this, then all the work of the first lesson, being the marketer, is wasted. At the end of the day, you're helping amplify the efforts of DevRel. You're helping get developers in. So it's really important that you kind of take ownership and not be afraid to have those weird, awkward conversations. As I said, they do work out, and you guys all kind of see the benefit together. So this is kind of the nice stage where, in the journey, when you've revamped the messaging, it's great. So you've done your processes, the base work, the messaging is good, but you still need to grow. So things look great, but maybe you're not getting quite the numbers that you want. So this is when I've learned, if you really want to amplify fast, you really need to work with more people and partner outside of your own team. So even though we have great products, we know our stuff, we're obviously super passionate. We want to write it our way, and we think developers want to hear from us. And sometimes they do, but for the most part, we found that they really want to hear from each other. Consistently, I find that when we work with others in our community, whether it's current Shopify developers or even people outside of Shopify, that content gets so much engagement and such a great reaction. One really great example is, we support a lot of really cutting edge languages. We're really on the forefront of GraphQL. We have a whole SDK built in, SDK built in, I'm confused my words now. We have a whole design kit built in React. So for us, even showing what kind of community we are and what we support, one partnership we did was with Cassie Williams, who had some really great content on how to really quickly build the front end of an app with Vue.js. So for me pitching this to my team, the partnership with her was a bit of a, Vue.js, we don't support that. It's not in our docs. Sure, you can use it to prototype a Shopify app, but it's not a big language we currently support. So that was a bit of a pitch, but showing the community, hey, we don't care exactly if it's for us, what you're doing. We just really want to support learning. We all want to be at the front of this curve together with you. Having that webinar, working with her, she's so lovely, it was a great experience. We not only found that we had so many developers actually viewing that webinar content, we had new developers who had never tuned into our content ever before. And on top of that, that was a victory in itself. We actually found there is conversion. There is developers who watched this webinar on something that had nothing to do with us and actually even signed up for developers' accounts with Shopify after that. So this is lesson 3, seek partners. Once you have that groundwork, your work is good, find more people to work with you and really extend and spread your message. So it's another victory. Everything is awesome. As a content marketer, it's so easy to be like, my messaging looks good. Everyone's happy. We have great partnerships. It's out there. But your work is not quite done. You know you want to grow. You know you want to scale. You know you want to make things as easy as possible for developers, from A, finding your content, to B, getting to that final stage or final-ish stage of signing up for that developer account and being on the road to success in your ecosystem. So how do you make that happen? Yes, be the marketer, but you might also have to be a bit of a growth hacker here. I know it's a bit of a weird one that people talk about. They don't know what growth hacking is, but really how I view growth hacking, at least, is it's really optimizing things. Instead of doing things the traditional way, I think that a lot of hackers appreciate, you're trying to find those little tweaks, those little fixes. What are the workarounds? How do we take those barriers from getting involved in the ecosystem and being successful and remove them? So a good step in how to start here is pairing up with your good old friend data. Not the personal Android. I really wish I had a personal Android to help me out. But just tracking things. With your content, getting super, super diligent with using UTM codes. Really making sure everything is tracked. Every unique campaign is tracked. Tracked from how are they finding it? Are they clicking through? Can you do heat maps to see really what they engaged with? Can you do special landing page projects? Really kind of looking at the data and tracking and finding ways. But step number 1 is tracking. In my mind, you can't hack it if you can't first track it. So this is lesson 4. You're a hacker too, which I know sounds, and I know for a lot of you maybe are, maybe for some of you who are more pure marketing, you might not see yourself as marketing, and it does feel weird in the marketing world. You do feel sometimes like that weird, stodgy suit, numbers, processes, charts, blah, blah, blah. But you have, I feel like, to be successful as a marketer in the DevRel world, you really have to have that hacker mentality too. It's not just about doing things in a certain checklist. It's about really finding those hacks and workarounds and ways to make things easier for your community. Things just keep getting better. So for me, actually yesterday was officially my 1-year anniversary at Shopify in this role, laying down this groundwork and figuring things out. And for me, things just keep getting better. Every day is a learning. We're on a great trajectory. To kind of even just recap everything, and just for you trying to figure out what your first year, trying to create a developer marketing plan with content marketing, a lot of it is just, being the new kid, building trust, or even building trust with new kind of language, new processes that feel unfamiliar. It's going to be weird. Work through it. It's going to work. The second one is just reworking content and messaging. Really making sure, does this work? Have those conversations. Make the tweaks. Just because things have always been done one way and your community knows it a certain way doesn't mean that's actually how your community wants things to continue. So really look critically at that messaging, whether it's how you write things, how you present things, what channels you're using, blog, YouTube, Medium. Really analyze that and own that. Forging partnerships. Really spend time here, maybe, I don't know, forge some partnerships with the people in the room here. Really talk to people in the community and work together. Even if it's not a perfect fit, if we all have very similar goals and we have similar things we want out of our developer community, we should be working together. And the last one, measurement and growth. You've done some work, you've put some content out there. Don't be afraid to get into the numbers. Even if they're not optimal, that's great. You don't have to waste your time and continue to do something that doesn't work. Find out what works, measure that, and from there, build growth strategies around that. Really optimize on the content and help developers find that content faster. So year 2, bit of a mystery. Maybe I'll be back presenting next year, telling you guys a bit about my more adventures in content marketing. And then maybe I'll even partner with some of you guys and we can chat together about the great pieces of content we've created. So everyone quickly just whip out your phones, as I'd love to partner with you. There's all my social media information, how you can email me. If you want to check out our developers program, it's developers.shopify.com. It'll tell you all of our docs, API endpoints, as well as a bit about our app store. And that's it for today. Thank you all so much for having me.